Welcome back to the Build Beyond podcast. In today's episode, we're gonna interview, all three of us will interview Lehi here, a lot like we did Bert last week. I'll just start it off, Lehi. Like you, I don't have as much of an experience as I do with Bert. Bert was when I was trying to get up in life, he was the one doing everything. You left the religion before Bert did, and really before I had any sense of direction. But one of the things that I remember about you is your wittiness. Like you were the witty person of the family. Always the quick comebacks, able to shoot your brother in the leg. There's a whole story behind that. But just
spirit,
the wittiness, and you were the funny one of the house, and in a sense, I always looked up to you, but I never had that big brother Lehi as my mentor. So I'm gonna let you guys kick it off with the interview.
Well, I'll start with the question. I know you was always the little pervert, but what gave you the balls to jump off the calf shed with a sheet, thinking that that would slow you down like Mary Poppins?
I thought I could defy gravity when I was a kid. I really did. That's the way I was. Like
you were very confident.
Like, if they can do it in the cartoons, I can do it. That was the way I thought. And but the reason why, like, I was also trying to do the back flips off the back of the shed or something, but I didn't. I had that doubt right in the middle of it. It's like, oh yeah, I can do this. But then I landed on my head a few times and it hurt.
I know, I seen it. But
you were always the one with the broken legs, the broken arms, and just doing the crazy stuff like that.
I only had my feet broken.
I think I won that battle of the most broken.
Yeah.
But what was your kind of youngest recollections on the dairy? Like, about how old were you and what was it like at your earliest memories?
I think I was maybe 8 when I remember actually getting up and going and helping milk cows, and it seemed pretty consistent to me, but I know there was other brothers that did it.
Were you ever dragged out of bed in the morning?
Absolutely. I can guarantee he got out there before 8. We had him in the milking barn before 8.
Oh yeah.
So,
but at 8 years old, I remember getting involved in the dairy and actually working. That's as young as I can remember, and I remember a little bit of the Payson dairy. But I went out to the barn and hung out, but I didn't ever go work at the Payson Dairy. But when we moved to Scipio, that's where my childhood was. It's in Scipio.
Yeah, when we started moving down there in like 91 and 2.
Yeah,
and
so I
finished in 93, so you was only 5 or 6. So that makes sense. Yeah. You actually have memories of being 4 and 5 years old, if you can remember anything on the Payson.
Yeah, a little bit of the Payson. Like, we had our brother Dan. That I guess I was born a year after him. Yeah. I don't have any recollection of him.
And I have vague memories of him. So at what age did you start being so funny? Like, Nate alluded to it, but you always were like laughing, and if you were laughing, we did know it was perverted. So, like, it was the way you laughed, and
I had a different sense of humor looking back. I know that. It was, from what I remember and what I can say to that is, I thought the cartoons were awesome. and I wanted to reenact the cartoons that I watched.
I can
Tom
dare
and
say
Jerry
we had as
kids
many
and-
rabbits as we did because you found that funny.
Yeah, I did think.
I remember Lehi going out there and putting the male and females together. They were
Yeah.
my rabbits, but Lehi took care of the breeding program.
The funniest thing to me was when they got done and they made that initial and then fell over.
Oh,
That
I
was
used
what
to
was
get
the
I used to
funniest
get
to
so
me.
upset at you for laughing at that.
I know. Remember when it was so taboo to watch the animals?
I know. But
Especially
let's be
horses.
honest.
Like, we grew up watching cows.
Yeah.
Horses,
We grew up on a
when they
farm.
would
We
make,
knew how the birds
like,
and the bees.
You were behind a sheet. It was so weird.
It was like a carrot compared to a pole.
That's true.
The difference between horses and cows.
Cows, yeah.
Yeah.
But-
We used to get money for telling them when the cows did it because, then we keep track of their
Yeah,
due
the born
dates.
dates.
But couldn't watch anything else.
So how old are you when you first stopped working at the dairy and started building?
I think I dropped out of 7th grade and went to work. So I would have been 14, 15.
And did you started at High Country?
Yeah.
Same place.
I was
same place
14,
did, yeah.
15 because I got held back in school a little bit because I didn't take it too serious when I was a youngster. And
Did you ever go to Edson Academy?
yeah.
Just that 1 year, though, right?
No,
Or was it 2?
a year and a half.
Oh.
Yeah.
I never did, like a day or two here or there. That was out of my age.
That was
group.
after we moved the dairy down to the creek.
Oh, is that when you?
But I was working at the dairy at the time. I worked at the dairy for probably a year after we moved down there, and then Dad retired, and I remember having this talk with Dad, and he's like, "Well, if you don't really want to do good in school, then go out and work." So that's when I called Jeremiah and got a job and started building log houses with Bert and the crew.
There's so much value to young kids getting out
and doing some
and
work.
working,
We can see
something.
in this day and age that value, like people our age that went through all the school and college and all that stuff. It seems like they don't know how to work, or at least don't have the same ethics as we do. What about when you started working for High Country? Jim, who was one of the owners, that was the crew boss, he really took a liking to you, and it seemed like he used you to get to me and get me upset a lot. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
What were some of the things he would
never
say or you would say that pissed me off a little bit?
He would kind of egg it on and like push me to say those things. It was deliberate. He was trying to get to you on purpose, and he knew that I was mischievous enough to actually go through with his plan. So, I remember wanting to please him a lot then and I felt like I was in a fun way and in work, because I was always running. Like, he'd like, go get me a tool out of the trailer, and I'd run.
But he would say, "Run all the way there and all the way back."
Yeah, and I would.
Yeah. No, I think that's why they liked both of us there, was that kind of stuff.
You didn't bring a square when he asked for a level.
Yeah.
I don't remember doing it, but I'll guarantee I did.
I did.
He did
That's
it, and
why I grew to
and he
hate him.
he had enough Carlisles on his crew. He kicked Nephi off his crew after that.
That's the best thing that ever happened to me. Yeah, I never was on his crew. That was I wasn't even working for him.
Oh.
I was just up visiting. I think I got to go with you to work or something for a day, something like that. Very egotistic douchebag, in my opinion.
No,
your
Back
wittiness,
then.
and you've always went through life really jolly.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like that has affected any kind of progress or any kind of reaching any goals or successes?
It's always I believe it has helped me. The positive attitude that I believe that I have, and not all the time. I'm human still, get a little negative from time to time, but the positive attitude that I went in, and I go back to what Dad would always say is like, you can do anything you put your mind to. So that's been one of my driving factors of excelling in each job that I've taken on, is having that positive attitude. I can do this.
He didn't warn you about the calf shed and the sheet.
I know. He didn't condone that.
One of the memories I have with you is we're out in the backyard doing stuff. You were coming from the chicken shed, and you're like, "Hey Nate, I'll give you $5 if you catch this egg," and that thing splattered right on my forehead.
You think I actually was trying to throw it to
He
you?
didn't. Nate,
No.
how old were
I
you
was
when
an ass.
you realized he didn't have $5 at the time?
Hell no, I didn't.
I actually went and tried to get Mom to make you give me the $5. I tried to
catch
get
any
you
of
in
it?
trouble.
That sounds like
that
something
smart.
my little boy would do now. He's coming. Can Trini give me $5? Because she threw an egg at me.
Yeah.
But I don't have a lot. Like when you were on your way out, I like how I put that, of the religion, you and James were sneaking around TVs.
Yeah, well,
Like,
it was
and
taboo,
it was
so
my
that was-
job, my God-given job, to run around and find where you were sneaking them, and when you were watching them, and run to Dad and just tattletale on you.
It was.
And it's because the hole wasn't big enough for him to sit and watch.
It wasn't long before it wasn't even a sneak. Like, they
No,
set
it
up the
wasn't. Like,
shed
that's
and
a-
locked it up.
Right,
and
but it
didn't
was
do it in
right
Dad's
before the
house.
shed, because that was Dad's solution to let you guys go
Go
jerk off.
Do
was,
whatever you want to do.
do it in
Yeah,
the
You
shed.
will anyway.
Yeah,
And
he didn't want it in his house. So,
Yeah,
and
God
we
knows
all-
the little peepholes in the little shed out back. Josh and I were always trying to watch stuff through those.
along with the neighbor.
I remember.
boys,
I
too.
remember. I remember that. I was probably the one that reported on you guys
Only because you
'Cause
seen
the-
us while you're walking out.
to do it myself.
No, walking out of the shed.
Oh no, I never went in the shed. I was not in.
You
that
weren't
state of
partaking in
mind.
that?
Yeah.
That was my teenage years, and right now I got 2 teenagers, and it's coming. Like karma's real.
Nature.
Yeah. Nature, see that?
Nature is real.
I don't have a ton other than like I say, I think what year did you exit the religion? Was it like 3 or 4?
2005.
Was it
Or-
the same?
It
No,
was 2005.
no, it was 4. Father died in March. You were gone before
that's
Father.
right.
He
It was
was
2004. I was 17.
the end towards the fall, I think, because it was like 6 or 7 months
Before
you-
Father died.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
you were out,
I
maybe
was-
a little less.
Yeah, I was 17, and
It was in January 2005, and I almost bet money on that.
Yeah, I'll bet you're right because it was not very long.
yeah,
I think
because
Nephi's
that's
Nephi's
right.
right.
Before I
So-
escaped out.
I think that's totally right, because it wasn't too long after that Dad passed away.
And when you left, you went and worked for a framer and kept building and in construction.
Yep. When I left, Dad went down to Zitting Brothers and construction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Our
it was
our
construction.
competitors today.
Yeah, and he got me a job there, and that was
Dad went and got you that job?
yeah.
Zinnings?
Yep. Dad went and got me that job when I went and told him, was like, I think I'm done. I think I want to move out and do my own thing. He hooked me up at that job, and he realized that I didn't have the confidence to actually go out. So what his exit gift was helping me get into the right path, because it kept me from going and doing stupid stuff that a lot of teenagers do.
Mm-hmm.
Joining the Lost Boys.
I'll tell you what.
I never once considered
I
that
just,
myself, but
There's a big difference between, I would just say, most men and our dad down there and in that religion when it came to our own choice and the support and love he still would show you after
Absolutely.
you.
He'd call me at least
Turn.
every other day, if not every day,
Yeah.
after I was gone.
Yeah, being there and thinking he was doing the wrong thing, I had to get over that. I had to not judge him for it. But that was the mindset, and that was the brainwash that we had.
When you left, so when I joined you not too long after you left, got your job with Zinning Brothers and stuff, and what held me accountable to not get into the dumb shit, not have the wrong friends, was you. Like, you helped me so much to hold myself accountable, to point out the dumb shit. What held you accountable? Why? What drove you to not do the drugs that was all around you and get into bad crowds that could have took your life down a very different path that we all seen and was around there for a little bit that we realized?
I never wanted to be a deadbeat, and at the same time, I moved in with a pretty awesome feller, Hiram Musser, and he was going through a hard time. He had a few kids himself, and he was kind of my dad then, as far as like keeping me out of that stupid shit. Like he wouldn't stop me from drinking beer and stuff like that, but he would be like, "Don't be stupid, bro." He'd always remind me, like, there's results to choices. So to that, I think that he was a great part of that. But at the same time, I never desired to be one of those, a deadbeat.
Mm.
And it probably even helped a little, I would imagine, being able to call and talk to Dad too.
Absolutely. And Dad was always there, and he was, to know that he still supported me even after I felt like I did the worst thing I could have done at the time to disappoint him. He was still there for me. And I think that right there had a big, big part of it.
Yeah.
I definitely remember him being on the phone with one of his kids that have left the religion, at least once a week, or once a week. You know. We'd even look up your numbers out of his
Frickin' mom. I love her, but I remember her so much getting after Dad for doing that.
Right.
Never made sense to me, but
she was only allowed to question him till he died, and then you didn't question him anymore.
That's true.
Everything
Sad
was
but
perfect
true.
after that.
So after your tenure at Zitting Brothers Construction, which was, how many years was you there?
It was only 3.
3?
Yeah.
Was you there that long?
It might have not been quite 3.
Yeah.
And
It was like more like 1.5, wasn't it?
Weren't you working for Zittings before you went and worked for Bert?
Yeah, we had left there and went.
yeah, we went and
Like
worked.
2 other jobs, 3?
Worked just
One.
I went and worked for our uncle Josh.
Oh, yeah, and
Yeah,
then
doing log
Vertex,
homes.
and then the
Yeah,
rigs.
doing log homes. I don't know. Working for Zittings was, it was fun. We would travel down to Vegas, work in Vegas, go up to Salt Lake. It was fun for me at that age, and then, but I loved doing log houses, so that's why. And it was getting close to, like, things were starting to slow down
Mm-hmm.
when I left there.
Yeah, there's a medical building right down the road here that I remember Father driving by and pointing. I think he actually stopped there once and said hi to
I
you.
still remember doing pickup work in that building.
Yeah, I remember that, him telling us kids that weren't supposed to talk to you, that there's your brother Lehi working on that.
When you stop and think about, like, Dad was pretty amazing that way.
Absolutely.
Like, he had a different mentality, like a true father would, I would say.
Yeah, like
Absolutely.
like in previous episodes, and I talked about how like he could have been so much more successful if he didn't focus on religion. But there's when you get down to the nuts and bolts of it, like we are our standards, our values come from what our father did and put into us. Very much so.
And there in and of itself, I think he was very successful.
Yeah, in raising a family, I mean, short of like having millions of dollars in all of our pockets, every other aspect of success is in his children. He put in us.
And then after, so you get done at Zitting Brothers, and then was that, you had a tenure there for Josh Johnson, working with him with log homes?
Yeah, it worked. It was all right while it lasted. I learned a lot about, he put me in charge of the crew, and I think I was 18 or no, 19, 20.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I had no fucking clue. But I wanted to be successful, and it worked out with a lot of trial and error, but that business never really got established to be an actual business or company.
Because you learned a lot from Jeremiah.
That's exactly right. There was no, like, we were getting paid in cash, and there was no paycheck, or like, I couldn't, I met my wife at that time and knocked her up, and I needed a way to start building my credit, and I couldn't because I didn't have a reportable income. So that was around 2008 that I just couldn't stay working for him, and the work was drying up. So that's when I came and helped you up in Bear Lake.
And we had good times, built some good, nice log homes up in the
It was a lot of fun.
We had a really good crew. That was by far my favorite crew to like work with, and production was amazing. With the log homes, we were putting them up fast. That was good times.
It was good times.
And from there on to once that business closed, well, no, you went and worked for your father-in-law.
Yeah,
Tell us about that.
That's where I learned a lot about life and gained a lot of different talents. Like, I learned enough, learned how to do sheetrock and painting and flooring and all that. Pretty much everything besides plumbing and electrical, but I was around it enough. I understand. But that was a really good job. A lot of emotion and knowledge at that time. I was a brand new dad, going through relationship issues, and that I grew up a lot right then.
And then what was your opportunity or the going on in your life that made you decide to go work on the oil rigs?
The reason why I decided to give the oil rigs a try is me and my wife went through a divorce right then, and I was like, well, screw it. If I can't come home to the family every night, I might as well go and work 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. That sounded pretty cool to me. So I got on there and loved that job. The work was awesome. The people, the crew I got on was a pretty awesome crew. They knew how to have fun and get shit done. So that was a really fun job at first.
What got boring about it?
It got kind of pretty political as it moved up. I was there for 6 years, and just the cutthroat, and people say one thing to your face and then come to find out. I mean, there was a lot of backstabbing just to get ahead. And I couldn't, I didn't like that. I couldn't work with that. So I decided to go back to building houses.
And that's when we were kind of reunited, so to speak, in building.
Yeah.
Right? Or did you go work for?
No, I started out
you-
with you, and then for maybe a year or so, I think we built a few houses, and then I was like, it was all intent with end goal was for me to start my own framing.
Yeah, that's how I remember it too.
And that's what happened. That's what got me to make this the next step of starting my own business and have my own crew.
Well, it's fun to talk about it, and then that lasted till you decided to come on board here.
Yep.
More recently.
Yep. Each step, man, there was so much different to learn, or so much different things to learn in each of those steps. It's amazing to sit here and think about it, and like, it's amazing.
All the lessons you learned from each step in life,
Yeah.
each change.
Even now,
When you had your own frame company, did you have, I'm sure you had desires. I think that's a dumb question, but did you have anything in motion to help yourself grow? Maybe get out into a different area and try and do something bigger somewhere else, or were you pretty content with?
I was, my vision was pretty limited at that point. I was just trying to make what I was doing work, and actually, as far as growing, I didn't ever think about that.
You didn't think about it?
Not really. Like I wanted to grow, but I didn't want to do it by myself. And that's why this.
I
was
actually
an awesome-
don't believe you didn't think about it, because you talked about getting more like maybe you didn't dream about it.
It wasn't till like the 4 years into it.
Because I know I was trying to talk you into growing, because like as I thought we was going to be signing so many houses, there's so much work that I was like, I need you to keep doing all these houses. And so
Yeah. Well, you may have like planted that, but the first 4 years I don't remember really wanting to grow big. But there towards the end, yeah, there was the thought started.
One of the things that like I think looking back on over the last couple of years, even before I came to you and wonder if you wanted to partner with me, then I was trying to get it, like, see how just behind the scenes testing the waters, and we got in a conversation of like what's your, like, what do you want to do? And you're like, I want to start building apartments. Like, so I know you had that vision not long before we partnered, but then later on, after you partnered, you brought up the fact, you know what, this has been my dream and I never thought it would be this way. So like it was really, it was a little bit mind opening. Like, we all have dreams, but we never know what steps we're going to take to have to achieve those dreams.
Yeah.
I've always thought about that as something that's like, that's an aha moment right there a little bit. Like, don't have the dreams, but don't be so stubborn that you that you close off to how you achieve the dreams?
I was naive too.
I think we all kind of were. Like, I had a 5th grade education and then some spotty homeschooling.
Yeah.
You had a 7th and some spotty homeschooling maybe, and even some of your other younger grades were probably spotty
Yeah.
education.
Well,
like, we're really, really uneducated
I was
entrepreneurs,
I was an 8th grade dropout.
and you may have had better education than the 3 of us in some ways because the dairy wasn't in the way. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
like that's why I went to 8th grade, for sure.
But so through your all the experience you've had today, what's a couple of good lessons or thoughts you'd leave with this?
Always have a positive can-do attitude and never get caught up in the moment, because you go through some shitty times that we all do, and a lot of people get discouraged and quit at that time, and that's what failure is when you quit.
That's super solid, dude.
Yeah, it is.
Never given up, and it's what was it?
Never get caught up in the moment.
Yeah, getting caught up in the moment that you said. That's definitely something that I still do, is get caught up in the moment of whatever's going on.
Small issues seem like the world is ending.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
probably the
caught up
best
in the
at not
moment.
getting caught up in the moment, actually, of this group. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
It seems like it.
I try to think about life outside of between my ears a little bit. Like, I consciously try and think about, well, how does this truly affect the situation, then the overall happiness in life?
That's good.
Well, with that,
Best.
guys, I hope you got enough information to get to know our partner Lehi in this, and we'll see you next week.